to the Plan Commission meeting for January 16, 2024. The first is to call to the order to the meeting. Do we have quorum? Yes. Okay. So we have two. Carol Poole is absent with excuse. Oh, Josh is here. Okay. Okay. So the next we move to approval of the minute.
I move approval. Second.
Any question, comment? Nope. All those in favor of approving the minutes say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. So next we move to item 3, public appearance for no agenda items. So do we have anyone here for non-agenda items? No. Okay, so next we move to the agenda review. Any comments?
No changes.
No change. Okay, thank you. So next we move to item 5 is agenda items. So the first thing that we have is a public hearing and consideration of conditional use CU-2530-24 request by Scott Endall, agent for the city of Fitchburg, to obtain a conditional use to allow a reduction of the 25-foot front setback to 10 foot for the proposed recreational facility on the property associated with 2220 Tracy Drive. So we have Scott, do you want to come? And also we have Mike Soki. He wishes to speak and answer question, and you are the architect, isn't it?
Correct.
Representing Engberg Anderson Architects. Okay.
So thank you, Mayor. We're in the process of rebooting our hub project, which we're very excited about. And actually, I don't know if this setback was approved previously when the architectural design was approved. And as I'm understanding, the time limit for the application has expired, so that's why we're coming back before the group tonight. And I do have Mike Zilke here. He certainly can answer any questions that the plan commissioners may have.
Question. Can you explain why you need to do the reduction so people understand why we're doing this?
Well, I think it's basically to get the building closer to the road,
Okay.
so that we can utilize the space, if you would. But that's typically, I guess that's what we're requesting here, is a reduction in the setback.
Any comment, question? Gabriela, you have a question?
And this was approved back in
Yeah.
2022. We're just having to re-up it because of the time.
Yes, this was approved previously with the architectural design review, and the conditional use was approved in December of 2022. An architectural design review and a conditional use permit are only, there's a deadline on them of 1 year. So they're coming back. Yeah, we'll have to do both. We'll have to have a vote for both.
Any other question, comments? No? Okay. So, can you move it?
Yeah, I'll move approval of conditional use request CU 2530-24 with the 2 conditions outlined by staff.
Second.
All those in favor of the conditional use, CU-2530-24, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The conditional use is approved. So next we move to 5B, ADR for the hub, request by Scott Endall, agent for the city of Fitchburg, to obtain architectural design review approval to allow the construction of the proposed recreational facility located on property associated with 2220 Tracy Way Drive. So, okay.
And again, this is a reapproval, although there are a couple differences from the original approval. And if I might ask Mike to just go quickly through it, I believe it's in your information, but there's a handful of of slight changes from the previous application.
Yeah, thank you. Some of the items that we changed were either for the better for the project or some responses that we've got a year ago. So the first one really was for the better of the project. We raised the building up 2 foot 4 inches from where it was, and that was twofold. One was really to minimize the amount of cut we would have on the property. It's a little deceiving. It actually slopes up quite a bit. So that was one way, and the other way, by putting a stair and a ramp in there, actually took the pedestrian traffic flow coming from the east instead of straight in. So with the 8-foot bike path that would come across, you'd have less interaction between people walking and biking and people entering the building. The second option, or the second change that we did, was we addressed 2 driveways before we had a cut into the bike park. And we removed that per request from the city. The other one, we had there is actually a fire lane / pedestrian that wraps around the whole property. We had more of a curb cut there previously, and we changed it now to a mountable curb and pavers. Details are still going to be worked out to find the best application for that, but it actually would deter any type of pedestrian vehicle traffic going that way. The canopy in the back was reduced. That gave 18-foot 6-inch clear dimension to allow for emergency vehicles to come around. That was increased from 15-foot 6 to 18-foot 6 to give a little better access through there. We had removed, or it was removed, the previous easement, parking easement that was part of the previous review, and we also are addressing the stormwater, which was part of the existing review, which will now actually come through this property, and for the time being until that's resolved at a later date. And the last item was a change in scope by the city to include the footings and foundations for a future covered structure. Those will be designed and structured for just the footings and the piers on site, which will help minimize the amount of property that you'd have to tear up in the future. So those were kind of the major changes that we looked at.
Okay. Diana, do you have anything?
I guess I just want to jump in. Mike just briefly referred to the shared parking easement. Staff and the city attorney worked for months to resolve that shared parking easement, and that has been released. So that was a big win. Mike just mentioned that the stormwater issue is going to be addressed. The stormwater that comes from the property to the north will have a temporary right to move through the city's site until there's a redevelopment of the parcel to the north. So I think we've touched on all the important things.
So how wide is the path in front of the building? The bike path is 8 feet or is 10?
For the sidewalk?
Yeah.
The sidewalk is 8 feet, and that's something we had worked with the city. And I believe that was going to be the width of the sidewalk to the property to the east before that kind of went on hold. So we maintained the 8-foot width across there.
Question? Comments?
I have just 2 questions. One is, I noticed that there's like a tarp canopy by the biking area for shade. It's probably not called a tarp, whatever, but it's a shade canvas or something.
Correct.
And I wondered if it would be wise to consider one by the basketball courts, and because I don't know when, hopefully not too long, but who knows when the covering over those courts would be, and for spectators, or, is that possible?
I think it's definitely possible. I think that would be a city call on that one. The one that we have over by the bike park is a kind of a, so to speak, a freestanding one.
Right.
So something similar to that could be, I guess, figured out over by the basketball court area, but that would be a scope increase, and I guess I would have to lean towards the city on whether that, we can put that in the budget or not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, of course, everything's money, forgot that.
Yeah,
I wish it wasn't.
Just put the coverage structure in and be done with it.
it's no free.
Okay, well, moving on, the only other question I had was, for the bioretention ponds, thinking of the tragedy in Sun Prairie, has there any thought been given, since there's going to be kids all over this place, to somehow blockading the ponds?
Yeah, and those ponds will really be kind of dry ponds, so to speak. Rob Stein, who's designing those, is not here tonight, unfortunately. But the infiltration of those are actually piped out of there, so they'll hold for, depends on the rain event, and then they'll go away and then be dry during that
okay.
time. So for the most part, unless it's immediately after a big rain, they shall kind of get infiltrate into the ground, and then the rest kind of go through the storm.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask, are those ones that can be converted to like ice skating rinks in the winter, or is that something different then?
That one particularly wasn't intended for. I think we'd have to look into that.
Okay.
It's a great idea, actually.
Yeah,
I know the one at McKee Farm, I think, kind of dual functions that way. So I'd be curious if we could stop the flow out or something like that, flood it, and then pretty
Yeah.
easily turn it into that.
Yeah, right now it's not designed that way, but
Okay.
can you look at that?
we can look at that. Sure.
Okay.
Just be a matter of putting a plug in there and throwing water
Yeah.
in it, right?
Steven?
A couple questions. First is on the footings that you have next to the basketball court. How high up are those going to be built then?
The ones on there's a photo coming up with that. The ones on towards us or towards the south, right now they're approximately about 4 feet tall. And the ones in the back are about 2 feet tall. Now, there hasn't been enough design on, there's been some preliminary design on it. We haven't had a chance to get into it all the way. So, but right now that's about the height of them.
But you're thinking about actually building them up, having that same brick facade or something around it. What I'm getting at is that the image that we're looking at right now
Yeah.
looks nice because of the future drawing on there. If you take that away, you have a basketball court or 2 pickleball courts and a dozen or so glorified pylons, in my opinion. I mean, that's what they are. They're just big structures along the outside. And if is there any gating or anything that's going to go around them? It just is going to look, I think, atrocious for and I totally get the project planning behind it and why you would want to for cost savings down the road. But I'm just wondering what we're going to be living with for the first couple of years here.
Can we
It
can we
seems a
put
little-
some plant, on top? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think our intent is to, I probably wouldn't use the word atrocious, but I think the intent will be to make the piers look just like that as piers. So on the back side of them, there is a sidewalk that runs across through there. So like anything, it creates a marching down the way. On the south side, maybe doesn't have that as much, but there will be plantings alongside of those as well. So we're going to make them feel like they're part of it as well, as the best as possible at that point.
So you're going to be doing some softscapes to kind of bring that into the overall. 'Cause
Yeah.
From
And
that picture, it just looked like, you take away the future plan
Sure.
and it looks very different.
And understandable at that point because doesn't have a lot of the other stuff that's around it at the time. The intent is not to just have them as concrete there. We are going to skin them with stone that we're putting on the building. So, and to the fact that we'll actually probably put pier caps on top of them because these footings will have steel rods in them waiting for it. But we want to protect those and we want to protect the people. So we'll end up probably putting a stone cap on top of those that will be removed down the road and then cut and put back on. So our intent is really to make it look like, it may look a little bit like a ruin, so to speak, but if they're planted well and they're done well, they'll look like, they belong in that area.
We could think of signage featuring aspects of the park or like public art installations on there in the interim as well.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like what?
Public art installations, like using those pedestals to display
Oh, okay,
artworks
okay,
or
okay.
something like that, or
okay.
collections that we could rotate out that people could be encouraged to go
for
see.
the library. The library has those. Yeah.
And the back ones towards towards the parking lot actually will have power to them. We'll feed out conduit to them for future and get that in the ground. So there is a possibility in my head to think about, can we put lighting fixtures that are on that and create that as a path walk on the backside? Again, maybe not doing it from the south side, it may not make sense there, but the backside might have that. So I think there is ways to make these feel like they belong and make them feel as they're part of the design and not just something that's waiting or abandoned at that point.
Sure. Or using my own words, less atrocious. Yes, that's great. Another question I have is there any kind of blockade, and maybe this is too, but I think you have other fencing plans in here. Is there anything between the basketball courts and pickleball courts and that retention? I get, even if it's a dry retention pond, just on the other side of that is a driveway. So are we doing any containment around this for safety of those playing on those courts?
We did not intend to have one on to the west facing that way. To the south, we were planning on doing, plantings across that way. To the west, we weren't going to necessarily have one there. Again, being that there was enough distance between that and the drive coming in there, that any kind of ball that would go down there, would kind of sit in there. And again, they're going to be dry ponds at that point, so we weren't too concerned about safety in that direction because it'll be a little bit more gradual slope at that point.
Okay. And I have one more.
Okay.
Looking at the interior plans of the building, there's that access kind of from the basketball court in where the bathrooms are right there. Is the rest of the building able to be locked off?
Yes.
So that can remain open, but no access elsewhere. Okay.
Yeah, we've gone through and there's quite a few access key cards planned for the doors. So it's a tricky situation to, get that all to work, but with security cameras in there as well, and those being able to be locked on the outside, locked on the inside, will provide enough safety for different kinds of situations during the day and night.
Another question: are you planning to put some lights, in the south part? Because that area is very dark now. You go there. There's one of the questions that someone asked me about if this park is going to have some lighting in that, in Traceway. You know what I mean? So.
Oh, on the exterior.
Yeah.
Well, the street lights will take part of that. We have light fixtures that go around the drive and into the parking lot. We'll have lower fixtures, two different kinds, pathways and kind of 12-foot high fixtures that go around the other side of that. So really we don't have any lighting that's on our property or part of the project. We're relying kind of on the street lights that were on the south side.
Yeah, there is not too much street light
Not
there.
too much of that.
So you need to go and take a look. This is what I am asking, if we are planning to add more street lights, because I don't think that it's too dark. Let's go that area.
And we could look to
On the building, maybe.
Yeah, we'd have to put it in the right spot to make sure for the future cover structure we have it in the right spot. The future cover structure, potentially, will have lighting on that, and there is building lighting on the building shining out. So the potential for putting another light fixture along Traceway in between where the future cover structure is a possibility.
So the basketball court will have lights to play at night?
It does not. That was
Why?
That was stipulation set by the city that they didn't.
What city? We are the city.
You guys. I
think
It's that old money thing again.
Yeah, no. I think it should have. Well, we need to have lights. And I don't know if people want to play.
Would that come with the covered structure? Like with the covered structure, would there be lights?
Yes.
Certainly.
Okay.
And I would think that there's going to be enough splash of light in the area, Julia, that they'll be able to play.
Have you played basketball at night? Because I have. And those places need lights.
Or
on the
pickleball if we
basketball
think it's
court.
going to be used for that too.
Huh?
Or pickleball if you need a decent amount of
Yeah,
light.
so because, in fall, usually if there is a nice fall, and then around 5 o'clock everything is dark and people can be playing 6, 7 o'clock, if there is no light, I think we need to, I think we need to reconsider that.
Sure. If we put light fixtures around there, which I'm not saying it's a bad thing, they will be removed when the covered structure comes.
Yeah.
So, okay.
We can take a look at that, yeah.
You can use some of those pillars to put the poles, isn't it?
You certainly can, actually.
You know what I mean? So I don't know.
We can look.
I am thinking that we need to.
Okay. I think the pillars on the south side would be a
Yeah.
perfect
Yeah. Oh, okay.
way to do that.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Please.
Okay?
That's a good idea.
Any other question, comment? And the other thing that I checked with Misty today, our finance director, is I would say everything is going to be funded with park dedication fee. So we will not need any debt to build this park. So that one is great. So
The only other comment I'll make on the lights is obviously we'll want to put in for citizens that they'll have an automatic turn off or something like that. I know at McGaw that can be kind of an issue, making sure they shut off by a certain time. So I think it's good to have it obviously in the evening and then assure the citizens that they'll shut off, around a reasonable time kind of thing.
Very good. Makes sense.
okay. So any other questions? So no. Okay. All of
I'll move approval
okay,
of
sorry.
architecture design review for the hub with the 14 conditions outlined by staff.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to say something?
Oh, I did already.
Okay.
Yep, I did.
Second.
All those in favor of the ADR say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you.
So next, 5C is a pre-application for the Spring Hill Suites. Request by Bob Seeger, agent from SFMA Deals LLC, to obtain the pre-application review for the Spring Hill Suite Hotel, proposed to be located on property located at the corner of Limestone Lane and Nesbitt Road. Okay, so we have here Bob Seeger. He wishes to speak in support and okay, so do you want to start first or not?
I think they,
Okay,
and I could jump in.
okay.
Go ahead. Okay, well, good evening. My name is Bob Seeger, and I'm an architect that has been around for too long. But I've worked before with Ravine and his family, dating back to '84, actually, with our first hotel. And the latest, of course, is the Staybridge. And a very successful hotel. And Ravine is now venturing into a new project called a Spring Hill, immediately in front of his hotel. And he's got an option on the land and has asked me to try and fit the Spring Hill standards onto this parcel. We've got some complications with the fire lanes, the rock that exists on the parcel, size of the parcel, some existing easements. But I think we're very close. And quite frankly, I think one of our main issues is the current Fitchburg parking standard is 9 wide, 18 foot deep, and 24-foot drive aisle. These proportions, and it's all math and geometry, but these proportions are very challenging on this property. We're able to accomplish that in our underground 26 parking stalls. We're able to accomplish that on all the parking stalls to the front of the project. Do we have the project? I guess we got the project up. Yeah. Everything immediately off the street, we're able to accomplish, of course, the standard handicap requirements, and the 18 by 9 with 24 drive aisle. Our dilemma is the western stretch of 38 parking stalls. So I hate to start the design of a project based on parking, but I think it's one of the critical issues that the city needs to consider whether or not we have a viable design with these 38. From that handout, you can see there's many options for parking in what's called parking design standards. You have a standard stall that says 9 by 18, 24-foot drive. What we're proposing, and you can see the drive aisle circled in pink for our 38, is increased from 24 to 38. Our parking stalls, it's another issue, but our parking stalls are 8 foot wide, and we can accommodate the 18-foot deep. But we're also asking you to consider on the 18-foot deep, if you go to the last page of that little handout, you'll see that we'd like to set the curb in 2 feet so that the actual pavement is only 16, but the stall availability is the 18. And believe it or not, that saves 12% of impervious space or impervious pavement, which has become a big issue with stormwater. So we'd like to propose that as an option to your code, that we set that curb in, allow our landscaping to permit the 18-foot deep, but reduce the actual hard parking space to 16. Now, if that's not an option with city's ordinances and zoning requirements, we can bump it out to the 18. So that's really not our Achilles heel here. What we are trying to do is create 8 more parking stalls with that 38-foot stretch by going wider with the drive aisle, which allows people to queue their car in a little easier, and then go to an 8-foot wide instead of a 9-foot. Other issues with the property, I think we've answered everything with the fire department's requirements. They wanted a fire lane access through the project connecting to the adjacent property to the north. We've accomplished that with a far better design than our 2 earlier meetings where we came off of the westerly parking lot, circled around behind the existing building, and then connected. So this is far better design. I guess the other nice amenities of the project is there's a wonderful large terrace in front, full canopy. We have availability for, in additional parking, a hotel van. We do have a swimming pool. It is a 5-story facility. And of course, it'll be well landscaped. Any additions?
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about the hotel itself and the staff that I have at the Staybridge right now. So Staybridge was opened in 2017, actually. So it's been a good few years. And the staff that's been with me since then, we've kind of grown into a family. They're all in that mid-level management portion of their lives. They're ready to grow. We have enough staff that's also ready to grow with us for another property, hence the location of this one, which is next door to the Staybridge. So from our staffing point of view, it fits well. Also, the Staybridge was really built as an apartment-styled hotel. It's geared towards extended stay, so all the rooms have a kitchen. A lot of our guests are there on an extended basis, whereas the Spring Hill Suites is geared more towards those who are staying less than 7 days. It again is an upscale flag. It's by Marriott, biggest hotel chain in the world. So it will be just as upscale, if not more upscale, than the Staybridge, which is next door, which will bring in a good amount of corporate clientele, and I think would be tremendous for Fitchburg in that it'll bring new types of corporate groups into the city that we have not been able to accommodate in years past. So, again, 100 rooms, room type configurations will either be a king, single king, or 2 queens. And the rooms are quite spacious as well. There's a trundle bed, a full office in there. We'll serve a free hot breakfast in the morning. There will be a swimming pool on the back side there, 24/7 gym, pantry. There will be fire pits out in the front patio area over there. And we will also be heavy on shuttle service again, which is what we've done at the Staybridge. So a lot of our corporate customers, we're one of the few hotels left in Madison that still provides complimentary airport shuttle service for corporate clients. Post-COVID, a lot of hotels nixed that. So that's something we still plan to continue for the Spring Hill. And you'll see in the plan there's some hotel van parking there at the front for that reason. But
One thing I did fail to mention is, in addition to your standard code of all stalls 9 by 18, there is a big trend to what they call small cars, and that would be page 2 of the handout. And we're with our 28-foot drive aisle, we're very very easy to really accomplish that small car parking, and we're showing 7 of those immediately as you come into the property on the west. So, and again, I'm not sure where small car parking fits within your current ordinances, but we're asking for consideration of 7 of those to make up our 101 for a 100-room facility.
So can I ask, is there a walkway along the western edge there of the hotel?
Between the hotel and the parking, there's a big area that says stormwater retention, and I believe that's almost 18 feet between the hotel and the parking. So,
but is there a paved walk? I'm curious just about the cars overhanging. In there, are they overhanging a walkway
within
or
that
a curb
18
there?
feet? Within that 18 feet, we'll have a walkway.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Obviously, the details of the landscaping and all the details to really make it a complete design have not been considered. The massing, size of the building, the fire lanes, the parking geometry, the accesses off of the roads. That's where we start, and then we fill in the details to make it perfect.
My only ask is just because if we were to look at the 16-foot depth and the idea is that the cars are going to overhang, I was just thinking about overhanging a walkway or something.
Our landscaping is definitely designed around the fact that it's very low to allow that extra overhang.
Okay.
And of course, any walkways are in addition to that, that overhang.
Mm-hmm.
I have another question because I am trying to understand all this parking thing. So my question is, do we need to have 100 parking slot for a hotel? You know, how, in your current hotel right now, how many of those parking slots are occupied and how many are,
On average, I would say at a peak period, 70 to 80. Mm-hmm. Because we do so much shuttle business, we cater a lot to corporate. So even on some sellout days, on the weekdays, for example, we could be, during Epic's UGM event, the biggest event of the year, the hotel in the parking lot looks like a ghost town because we shuttle all the guests. Yeah. But peak periods, when it is busy, I would say 70 to 80%. Typically, we try to do, at least 1-to-1 parking space to the room. So that's kind of where we are with that amount of parking. Yeah.
I think that I don't know anything about hotel, but to have 100 is for me too many. You know what I mean? Because the hotel.
You're right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Most of the people go there, and then most of the people.
Correct.
If they come for business, they're not going to drive. Or,
right.
And this is not the extended hotel that maybe people are going to be driving.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? So this is what I want to understand that.
Yeah, we've seen that too in especially post-COVID. More folks are Ubering or are doing that kind of thing. But typically, especially in also part of Marriott standard as well is also at least like one to one too.
Okay.
But Bob's managed to exceed it at 101, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, we can kill one. That's not going to help our proportions in our sizes
Yeah.
greatly.
Because it looks more that the parking lot is bigger than the hotel surface. I don't know. So it's kind of weird. I don't know.
I see where you're coming from. Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
funky visually.
Yeah.
And the building goes up 5 stories, so
Okay.
it's a bit tricky to the eye. Yeah.
That 101 total includes the 26 under?
Yes.
As well, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And are those just for staff, or are those also for guests?
For guests, yeah. Staff and guests. With the hotel business, it does work out quite nicely in that during the daytime, parking lot's very empty. Checkouts by typically 11, noon, and then staff are there, and then the staff are out by 4, generally, housekeepers and such. And then the bulk of our arrivals are between, I would say, 6:30 and 7:30 in the evening, so.
Since we're on this topic, I'll just continue. My thoughts were the exact same, that if you are going to a hotel, so chances are you're getting a rental car from the airport, 75% of them are SUVs, or you're driving or getting shuttled. So the people who are going to be going there, I just had this not that long ago after going to a trip. We took our SUV, and then they have these tiny little spots, and you're just waiting for a door ding. So in my opinion, I'd rather have 80 spots at 9 feet than 100 at 8 feet because of the type of vehicle that is probably most likely to be parked there. You're dealing with families or even just individuals. If it's corporate travel, I traveled corporately for 11 years, and you grab an SUV from the airport.
Luckily, not all the spots are tiny.
The 33 that are adjacent to the road,
as well as the underground,
which is 26, are all exactly per city code.
Got it.
So 59.
And we can adjust the curb and make them 18 deep. Right now, they're showing as 16 just to save impervious space. But I understand I don't think that's
the length doesn't bother me nearly as much as the width.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay,
18 feet with the overhang, not a problem.
all the 33 in front of the building are 18.
Plus underground. So technically, the majority are.
Sure. Yeah, 26.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just that 38-car drive where it's tricky.
So 59.
Biggest
Yeah.
problem.
Can you also speak to, so on the thing that we're looking at right now, the north that cannot be due north if that's on Limestone and Nesbitt. So I'm assuming Limestone is the road going what would be east and west on this drawing.
Right.
So are we going to have access on Nesbitt as well, where that says like 4 cars? Is that a driveway to get in from that side, or is it only the 2 access points on Limestone?
Which
So
one is Nesbitt?
that's actually
This
a
one is
driveway.
Nesbitt.
It's a driveway to
okay, that
access
one. Okay.
the under level, 26 stalls, and it's
How
a
is
driveway
connected
to
to the
allow
hotel?
the fire lane up to the adjacent property.
There's a driveway right in here,
Okay.
Got it.
and then there'll be a driveway off of Limestone here, and then here.
But they're saying the one off of Nesbitt is not front access. That's the parking garage and the fire lane.
Right.
Correct.
It doesn't cut through.
Because there's that,
okay,
there's
that
that
one is-
retaining wall and the terrace on the corner, which makes it complicated, right? Can make this continuous
it's
or
a
anything
very
like that.
steep site. It's
Yeah.
actually it's up
tough
about
site.
12 feet.
Yeah.
The site is a real hill right off of Nesbitt.
So people, when they are driving, you need to have signs that say they need to use limestone to be able to park in the
Yes.
parking lot.
For the underground.
The canopy
No,
access
for-
Talking about the-
canopy access is off Limestone.
Yeah, canopy access. Yeah, main entrance will be correct. You're right about the signage there
Yeah.
for the main entrance. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you planning to install EV chargers there for in the parking?
Yeah. I
Okay.
think we're going to have to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the parking issue comes up a lot at council too, about like if we need this much parking. Is this something that we can, I don't know if you can comment on that, if it's something that we can create as a variance, as an option? Is this something that we have power over as a plan commission, or?
Yes, so in my interpretation, the city has standards for the number of parking spaces that are required. In my interpretation, that it's not actually in the code of ordinances, and so there is some flexibility. In my recommendation to Plan Commission, I would let the applicants and the business owners be the best judge of the number of parking spaces. I, as staff, really would be comfortable saying how many parking spaces a hotel needs or a restaurant needs. There's not an exact science here in the number of parking spaces.
So you're telling us that the city is flexible with this?
Yes.
We don't have those in the ordinance that we say we
Yes.
need to follow this number.
Right.
Okay, good to know.
Are the dimensions in the ordinance?
It's a similar thing called, they're in the standards.
So we have standards.
You do have standards.
Okay. And we can play with the standards.
I think there's, within reason. I'm not going to recommend a 6-foot wide stall, right?
I would say it's also noteworthy that the shuttle service at this hotel is shared with the hotel next door. So there's 2 planned shuttles at a minimum for Spring Hill, in addition to 3 that we have at Staybridge. So you're looking at at a minimum 5 in total between the 2 hotels. And with that many shuttles, we plan to expand the service beyond just companies and airports. We hope to bring back what we used to have pre-COVID, which was taking people to restaurants and leisure activities and things like that. So it should alleviate even the parking concern even more. So yeah.
So if you, in an ideal world, how many parking slots do you want to have for this property?
100, honestly. Yeah,
100 is what you
I think
want.
it's a Marriott.
That's what Marriott. That was the first thing they asked about the project. Was
They were
particular.
very inflexible.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually dictated by Marriott.
Marriott's pretty tough. Yeah, they've so Staybridge was part of IHG Intercontinental Hotel Group, so Holiday Inn Holiday Express, and they were a bit more flexible to work with at this stage. Marriott has very strict standards with regards to prototypes and design and structure, and so that was the first kind of concern.
So I had to ask you a question about why this location and too close to the other one.
yeah. Staff at the end of the day, honestly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's about the people. The biggest thing for a second project, the first concern was the staff. And the staff is at a point where they want to grow, they're ready to grow. And having a property, even though it's next door, we're going after 2 different markets.
Okay.
One is extended stay, one is corporate. And at the same time, it allows growth opportunities for all the existing staff too. So yeah.
And do you have an idea how much it's going to be this building or project? Not yet.
Not
No?
yet. Hopefully
Okay.
by the next meeting.
Have you talked with other local businesses, like I'm thinking like Quibby's Grove right down the road for like weddings and stuff like that? Like,
Yeah,
do you see?
a bit. So this one, it won't be as big on banquet facilities as much as corporate, I would say. A lot of what we've seen at Staybridge that we have not been able to accommodate is good upscale corporate customers. Many are international who are less than 7 days that don't want a full kitchen. They don't want a full apartment.
okay.
They just want a modern upscale experience for a few days, and that's about it. Yeah.
Is this hotel will have like a conference room or like something like that?
It'll have a like a small what's the word for it? Not a conference room, but it's almost like a meeting room. It's a small
okay.
meeting
Yeah,
room.
I think it's about 12 people.
Yeah, 12 people.
Okay.
12 to 16 people.
Nothing huge.
Within their prototype standard.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments? Do you want to do your report?
I think we've covered actually more than what is in our in our comments here. We have been working on the fire access easement. I think we have a good solution here. It's it's been a challenge because we've been working closely with the neighboring property owner. Just for Plan Commission's information, through the application process, the next steps would be a conditional use permit for a hotel. The zoning is fine, and then they'll definitely have to do architectural design review. So that would come before you, and then depending on the sign package, a variance might be needed. For Staybridge, there was a variance granted for the sign package. So we haven't gotten far in the sign yet with Bob, but
But we are not going to stop that type of project for a sign.
okay.
So I have another question. What is your timeline for this project if it get approved?
We're going as fast as we can, full speed. So we're on track to. I've been in touch with Deanna on deadlines and such. So we're on track for our application materials to turn in next Tuesday, so that we can provide an amendment to the Orchard Point plan in February.
Okay.
After we pass that hurdle, the final one will be our ADR and our conditional use in March 19th.
Okay.
So if all goes to plan and things go well, if our city approvals are complete by the end of March, then hopefully at that point Bob can finish up his drawings and hopefully be off to the races. I would expect by spring. I would hope late spring or maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
So when is going to be complete in 2025?
Takes 1 year to complete.
1 year. Okay.
Yeah. Same as Staybridge, 12 months. So.
Okay.
So then how do they proceed, or we proceed with varying the standards that require 9 feet or deciding not to? I mean, when is that decision
We'll do it
made?
through the architectural design
Exactly.
review approval.
Okay.
So I want to say thank you, Ravin. I remember
you.
when you came the first time in 2017.
Yeah. Wow.
And I have a picture with you and me when we did
Really?
the groundbreaking in that hotel. Yeah, I remember. So thank you for continuing investing
Thank
in
you.
Fitchburg. And I think, I am
Thank
very
you.
supportive of this project. So
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. And this is Bob's 16th project with the city, so it's pretty big. Yeah. So thank you all.
no, thank you.
And I was supposed to quit 10 years ago.
Okay, so next we move to item 5D, is the neighborhood plans update and discussion. So all yours.
Right.
Oh, you have a presentation.
I have some slides that I'll move through pretty quickly, but I would like to just provide an update of where staff is and what we've been working on, and an update especially of the neighborhood plans. So the first thing I just want to provide a little update. The staff is also working on the city's sustainability plan. We are now in phase 2. We've moved through the data collection, initial research, and some initial documents. Those are all available on the website. Send me an email if you'd like to review those. There still is a public survey that is open, an online public survey. We've had over 500 responses at this time. And Phil Groupie, who is leading up the sustainability plan, tells me that of all of the cities the consultant has worked with, we've had the most impressive response on the sustainability survey. So it's still open. We are still hoping to have additional responses, so keep that in mind. There will be, I got to make sure I get this right, coming up in January 31st. Oh, darn it. I wrote it down and then I forgot to bring my note. January 30th. here at City Hall, there will be, at 5 o'clock, there will be an initial upcoming community presentation listening session
For what? For this one?
for the sustainability plan. So,
How are we promoting that to the community?
I'm sure Phil is leading that up.
Because it's January 16, so we need
I will get with
some,
Phil.
if there is a Facebook post or a flyer,
The
so we
social
can,
media,
so you know what I mean. So,
Yep, I will get with Phil to make sure that gets out on all of his and the city's social media.
I just wanted to say, so I'm serving on the Citizen Commission for the plan towards our sustainability plan. I was able to attend my first session this month, and it was really great to see the kind of disparate areas they're looking at, the many aspects they want people to weigh in on in terms of what would you like to see out of the plan and what kind of questions you have. So we're still early in the process, but was really impressed by just the conversation and the engagement and stuff like that. So excited to see it move forward.
Okay. And we're still on track for completing it by the end of the year.
oh, by 20. Oh, really? By the end of the year?
That's the idea here.
Okay.
Want to talk a little bit about the two neighborhood plans. As you all know, the staff is working on the South Stoner neighborhood plan and also the Greenfield plan. We had our first neighborhood open house. This room was full. It was full. Wow. We had 79 people that actually signed the sign-in sheet. I was manning the sign-in sheets, and I know some sneaked in without signing in. But so it gives you an idea of how many people came. Most came from the Greenfield with their interest in the Greenfield neighborhood plan. And at that meeting, we had the consultants, MSA, put together a brief overview of the planning process, and then we broke out into two rooms, actually, with the Greenfield group and then also with the South Stoner Prairie neighborhood group to start some initial discussions about what are some of the concerns, what are some of the things that we should look at. So next couple of slides just briefly show our online map. And this online map allowed anyone to just put down a pin and then describe their concerns or what they would like to see. Excuse me. And it also allowed us to document some of the comments that were made during the open house.
So you say that this is online?
Yep, this one, yes.
Where is the link? How we can find this?
It's under the neighborhood planning page, but I'll send you the link.
Can you send us the link? Thank you.
Yep. We also recorded comments from the open house on the maps too. It was just kind of our way to record that. This map is all up there yet. You can pick on each one of the little colored dots and find out what was asked or what comment was submitted. Many of the comments here in South Stoner Prairie was related to preserve the woodlands, concern about topography, open space, green space. A lot of comments about bike and ped connections, how we connect to other trails, other roads, safe connections to Verona school districts and to Edgewood College, which has the property just to the east here. They were welcome to some higher density, some middle housing. There's still a very strong interest in protecting farmland and conserving green space. And then we talked about mixed use and to limit sprawl. So those are just kind of some high-level comments. If you are interested in an actual spreadsheet of the actual comments, happy to do that too. Happy to send that to you And I will definitely send you the link to this online map.
When they say preserve woodland, there is nothing there. So what?
Well, there are some wooded areas kind of through here.
What is that? That one is the Palin and Dolan. No.
Yep, this is the Payne and Dolan property.
Okay,
and then there are some woodlands
there.
kind of down
Yeah.
in here too.
Okay.
And I think there's interest to kind of
that
connect
corridor,
into the regional systems and looking at how we can connect into the existing bike ped systems.
Okay.
So in general, we got some good comments here. Greenfield was full of comments. This one, and like I said, I can actually send you the actual comments if you are interested, but we had over 75 comments on this map. Most are related to the need for safer pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure. We hear a lot of concerns about traffic, about concern that new development will bring new traffic problems. There's concern about speeding, lack of traffic enforcement, that it just feels very unsafe for pedestrians and bicyclists. What? In Greenfield, this is some of the concerns that are coming out here. So there was also a comment just about all the driveways, like on South Sain. It's dangerous for cars to be backing in and out of the amount of traffic that's coming on South Sain. So we heard a lot of concern about traffic here. About 10 comments related to stormwater and flooding concerns. This came up a couple times already about flooding in the Curry Court area. There's concern about flooding. You can see in the blue dots there along Irish. There's concern that stormwater backs up along Irish. And then a lot of the statements here: preserve wetland, preserve farmland, open space, trees, wildlife, maintain prairie.
I don't see anything about housing.
Yeah. No.
This is what we're doing. That's it. To build, you know what I mean?
I know.
To grow.
I know. So we had first week of January. I can't believe how fast January is flying by. We had a Greenfield visioning meeting. This was a very good meeting. About 30 people from the Greenfield neighborhood came out. We did a small presentation at the beginning, but then we broke into 6 tables and worked in small groups, really to just do 2 things. The first thing was to talk about what we envisioned for 2044. So we asked each group to just start making a list of things that they would like to see in the neighborhood. So I've just given you a couple of these boards and what people were interested in seeing in 2044. Natural trees, natural landscaping, single-family rural character. This group was fine with multifamily, small scale along the Highway 14 corridor, mixed use, rural character. You'll see the theme throughout my coming slides: agricultural preservation, rural, natural. This one had keep the green in Greenfield for you. Then the next one, small agriculture, large agriculture, inviting, nod to Fitchburg's history, heritage, parks and open space is just a real common theme that you'll see here in Greenfield.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to go to that one, to both of them, and and this one was, people didn't understand the exercise was how do you envision this in 20 years? So, and it's like they don't envision, they want to keep everything the same practically. And they I don't know, it's going to be a very difficult, I don't know how this, at the end, how this plan will look like, but it's going to be a lot of pushback in this one, especially.
Yeah. Just a couple other ones, just to kind of, so these are, each board is from a different group. And I'm sorry the writing in blue was mine and it's kind of a mess, but
That one is yours?
yeah, that was my group. But what they were saying is we want a McDonald's, we want a Quick Trip, but we want it up in Uptown, right? We don't want it in the Greenfield neighborhood. They didn't want the commercial development in Greenfield. They didn't want, my group did not want residential. They felt that redevelopment should be happening already within the city. So I don't need to totally go.
You can watch that.
The two other groups, I didn't get the boards up there to show you, but I just wanted to share similar kinds of comments. Larger lot residential was good. A couple of groups mentioned that they didn't like the small homes on small lots already built in Fitchburg because it's all cookie cutter. Only multifamily we want is duplexes. We want small hobby farms. There was a comment, why can't we have 5-acre farmettes?
What?
5-acre small farms, farmettes. Some people call them farmettes, right?
Oh, really?
They're not a huge farm, but a farmette.
Interesting.
Small scale, mixed use might be okay. There was a comment that agriculture is a business, so why isn't that included? This was another exercise that we did just to take, we handed each group a stack of photographs and asked them to rank, right? So they had a commercial column, they had a multi-family column, they had a single unit residential, and then a parks and open space column, and then they had to put their top favorite photos at the top, right? So you get a sense of what people wanted to see versus what they were less likely to want to see.
The multi-unit residential, there is some hope there, isn't it?
Yeah. So this was one group. I will just kind of ask you to kind of keep this one in mind because you'll see this one again and you'll see this one again. This was another group. You can kind of get the sense. You can see those two again up on the top. This one showed up again. They refused to put anything on their third tier. But it gives you an idea.
But they live in a neighborhood.
Yes. And this was actually the group that I was working with. You'll see those two top pictures, and they just refused
really?
They refused to pick anything for commercial or multifamily.
That is, I just, like, I've been trying to keep, biting my tongue here, but that is unfortunate if we're going to go through this kind of an exercise that people can't participate wholly. We get your point, but if you're going to go to things like this, participate. What is your idea of multi-unit? To think that it's going to remain open space is just not going to happen, most likely. This is the point of a building and planning exercise. So help us know what to plan for. I just have to admonish that this is just, to me, inappropriate. If you're going to spend the time out of your night and weekends to come to things like this, give us your opinion. This is not giving opinion. This is saying, I don't want to play this game, you're taking your ball and going home. I just have to point that out.
Stephen, it took like maybe 20, 25 minutes to start the exercise because they didn't want to do the exit practically. They was complaining about why we're here. We told you that we don't want to do this. And the point was, this is an exercise for the next 20 years. It's like nothing is going to happen tomorrow in 5 years. It's because, there are a lot of land farm there that they are very close to the service urban area. And maybe we don't know those people. What is there? How many family owns most of the land?
The Stonemans, the Haas, Joneses.
So
those are there's
and
four.
the idea that we told them is, in case in 10 years, suppose, there is another council, another plan commission members, and one of those farm land owner decided to sell, there is a plan in place for that, the vision, you know what I mean? So that one is the exercise, but I think there is a misunderstanding that they think that we are working with a developer, you know what I mean? So, and the idea is, let's put a plan in place for the next 10 to 20 years, how this area will look like, so when someone decided to sell this big parcel of land, we can say, this is the vision for this area.
Yeah, but what you're up against is people who bought these houses for what's out there now, right? They want to feel like they're living in the country while being incredibly close in proximity to Fitchburg, right? And so you're up against a bunch of homeowners who moved out there and bought these houses because of exactly the way it looks right now. So I'm not at all surprised that this is what you're hearing, right? They feel like they have the best of both worlds. They see a value in that. That's why they bought that land. That's why they bought those houses. I'm not trying to defend them. I'm just saying this is the perspective you're against. If this idea that they're not coming and engaging, they're trying to push back, right? They feel like they're meeting the brief of showing up and telling us no. I'm not saying one way or the other whether or not which one I feel like is right in this, but that's all the homeowners. So you have this weird juxtaposition of the surrounding land being owned by a couple of people. It's probably going to get sold and developed sometime in the next 20 years. That's not what they want, right? They like their rural houses right next to Fitchburg. And so I think this is kind of the juxtaposition that I feel in this development here.
I think.
My question to you, Diana, is like, when we choose this neighborhood plan, because my concern is that we are investing a lot of money, consulting time, your department, and then at the end of the day, we say, no, we are not going to do anything, or did we choose the incorrect place to do a neighborhood plan? I don't know.
Of course, the wheels were turning before Zach and I and the current team came on. The wheels were turning for doing these two neighborhood plans.
It was in the comp plan for.
And yes, it was in the comp plan, and once there was the funds available, it completely makes sense to do the Greenfield neighborhood plan next. And here I have to talk with maps. I'm sorry, guys. It kind of makes.
I mean, from a service area perspective, it certainly makes sense, right? Like if we're talking about things abutting and making it easy on the city to access and service these neighborhoods.
It does.
While you're looking for the map, I just want to add, or maybe counter Josh's point a little bit. I think it is new homeowners that have moved in, but it's also agricultural families that have been here for decades and decades and decades, and they want it to continue for the next 10, 20 years. So your point about, we're talking about development 20 years out, so are they. They want it to stay farmland because that's what Fitchburg was, and I know many feel that the promise was that Fitchburg would still be friendly towards farming.
I think we
They
are.
would say 50%
Yeah,
of the city is, right?
No, I know, I'm just saying that it's.
But if you're abutting the urban service area, it's the same argument we hear a lot here, which is, I don't want any development near me because there's traffic.
Yeah.
Who creates the traffic? The people are already there. This is ongoing, right? I hear your point, Zach, about they absolutely do not want development. I'm sure nobody wants a $20,000 tax assessment either every year, right? There's a balance here. So anyway, I'll let you continue, but show us the map.
I guess all I wanted to say is two things. Greenfield was the next logical future urban development area to start planning.
Which is close to the service already.
I got to get the different map. Just a second. Sorry, I thought I switched over, but I didn't. So we, Zach and I, we've all been learning a lot more about just the utility situation, and with the Hartung property right here, the city and with Hartung are investing in the South Sain sanitary sewer interceptor. That sanitary system, its goal, its long-term plan to start servicing all of this area. So really, we need to develop in this area and bring the sewer line and the utility lines here to help start working our way down to these other future FUDAs. So the Greenfield neighborhood FUDA was the next logical step here. And it's important in thinking about our long-term infrastructure plans, and actually Public Works has that interceptor sized for development that will take us all the way down to M.
Yeah.
But we need to start thinking with Greenfield here. So we have a challenge. And I will say that there is no farm in Fitchburg that has to develop, right? And if a current farm family is concerned, they can sell their development rights and put it, they can sell their development rights. And it can, there's a major farm down off of couple 100 acres. They sold all of their development rights. It will never be developed.
Oh, really?
Who do you sell it to? I mean, I know Town and Dunn buys it, but who
there's
did
several
they?
nonprofits.
Oh, there are nonprofits.
okay.
Oh, okay.
And even regional, but even national groups that you could sell those development rights to, and it will remain agriculture or open space forever.
Interesting.
So, and the city, I mean, if they want to keep farming, they can keep farming forever. They don't have to sell to a developer. I mean, we can put in our future land use map and say it's high density residential, but we can't rezone them. And if they want to keep their agricultural zoning and keep on farming for the next 200 years, they can, no matter what we do here in our neighborhood plans.
What is the city of Madison? Is it in the area off Milwaukee Road with that farmland? And I thought there were proposals to have kind of like agricultural communities. So it's multifamily housing, either a lot of single family or multifamily, but it's embedded into agricultural land and those people will do the farming. Is that?
That is something that did come up. I don't have knowledge of it to speak to it at all. So, but we could certainly start doing some research and seeing what kind of options are there.
Where are the transmission lines there in Greenfield?
The electrical lines?
Yeah, the one.
Yeah, it's this electrical line, the big one that runs right across
So
here.
maybe are they open to solar farms over there? I don't know.
Of course.
And we don't have any power, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is one in Irish Lane. What
Yep,
is the name
there's
of that one?
I was just going to
Irish
say,
Lane.
I think our recently approved agrivoltaic is going to be a really big piece in this conversation, because I think if that goes well and is seen as a model for kind of a blend of a solar farm along with an agricultural element or an open natural element, I think parts of Greenfield might be really well suited for that.
But we need building lot. We have 2 years of inventory right now.
Well, I guess I don't have a whole lot here. I wanted to make sure that staff updated Plan Commission to kind of have and As always, Plan Commission is welcome to attend any of the meetings, the visioning meetings. All of our meetings are open to the public. More than happy to have you join us. The next planning things for the neighborhood plans on Thursday of this week is the South Stoner Prairie Neighborhood Plan Steering Committee number 2. You're welcome to join. We meet here. On Monday, January 22nd is the last day to submit comments to that Greenfield community map that I showed. I will send you the links to that. And then on Thursday, February 8th, we are planning for our second steering committee meeting for Greenfield. So let me know if there's any questions about that. Just wanted to touch base on a couple other things. The planning team is finalizing the parks and open space plan, so we should be able to refer that out very soon. We are starting the teen center feasibility study. And then right now, we are expecting up to maybe 4 potential minor comp plan amendments coming for you. So,
When is the deadline?
the deadline for the minor comp plan amendments for the spring of 2024 is next Tuesday, January 23rd.
Okay.
So that's all that I have.
So the other thing that I want to mention to you, there is going to be a meeting for another solar project. It's called Sunnyside. Is on it's the 18th too. At 3 o'clock is in the agenda. And where is that? Is the Fitchburg Community Center, Fitchburg Room. So that one is another solar project that the city has been working for the last, 4 months, 5 months.
Yeah, that's been around for a while. The original proposals definitely came last year.
This group of people has been very accommodating to our, concerns. But this one is very close to the service urban area and close to the other solar farm. So that one is when they came the first time to meet with us, it was a huge project, you know what I mean? And I remember when I saw that slide, I said, oh my Lord, it's close to the service urban area where we are planning to grow in the next 10 to 20 years, you know what I mean? So this is what is important, that is a priority for us to start this year with the revision of the comp plan. So start having all those conversations because they didn't know where are our future plans or future, growth of the city. And if we start, I am all in favor of solar farms, all of that. But, this one are coming too close to the service urban area, and we are future areas for growth. And, they're going to be here maybe in a month, and then we have to say yes. You know what I mean? Because we don't have any power.
Yes, we have very limited tools. For solar farms come, just as a FYI, I guess, solar farms come to Plan Commission as a conditional use permit under the agricultural zoning. So state law does limit on what conditions we put on a conditional use permit. Fortunately, as the mayor has said, that the applicants, the future applicants for this, EDF Solar has been working with us and MG&E to make something that fits a little bit better in the overall area. But in general, it's going to be off Munchler and just north of Wayland, behind the city's Public Works Department, just to the west of the city Public Works Department. So, and then the developer of the solar farm, they're holding a neighborhood meeting on Thursday. So.
And also there is another proposed development with a neighborhood, a meeting on the 18th at 5:30 is is in a vacant lot on East Sherrill Drive in front of the, what is the name, the gardens?
Yeah, they're the townhomes right
Yeah.
on East Sherrill Drive, just to the west of Crinkle Root, right there at the
Yeah.
corner of Crinkle Root and East Sherrill Drive. There's a vacant lot, and that is likely to be one of your minor comp plan amendments. What is being proposed is taking the site from medium density residential to high density residential to allow 67 single-family homes. So there'll be not small houses, I mean, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, but on very small lots off of an alley is what's proposed. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more straight from the developer side of things, that meeting is coming up on Thursday, too.
Yeah.
Are those meetings on Fact TV?
No.
No.
No, generally, the
That's
developer
more
meetings
private.
are not.
And you can go and see it. Yeah. It's interesting going those meetings. Okay, so any other question for
I'm done.
Diana? No? So item 5.6, a report from department. You already did that, or you?
Yeah, nope,
Okay.
I don't have anything else.
No? Okay. And then 6A is Agriculture and Rural Affairs Committee report. Any report?
No meeting this week.
Okay.
This month.
Okay. And Transportation and Transit Commission report, Gabriela?
We met on January 11th and had a nice meeting. A couple of things to note. Our transmission engineer is attending BRT design meeting, bus rapid transit design meetings with Madison Metro, so that conversation is kind of continuing, ongoing. Public Works is continuing to replace our street lights with LED lights, something that's not complete around the city, but they've been doing it on a rolling basis. And we talked about the Fitchburg Road reconstruction. There is a 90% design that's available on the website. There's going to be a roundabout at Lacey and Fitchburg Road. And there are also going to be 4-foot bike lanes with 2-foot buffer, new curb and gutter, a multi-use path, and it will address the flooding at Goose Lake that happens over there. And it looks like because they're reconstructing the road, I believe we can replace one of the pipes. That's one of the big issues. It's like the circumference is too small. So because of the reconstruction, we're able to fix that in a way that we wouldn't without the reconstruction. Plans continue, but the construction would not be until 2025. And we dug into some of the details on that. And then, we also talked about Vision Zero, which is an ongoing discussion about how the goal is to eliminate pedestrian and actually any deaths on our roads is the goal. So we're talking about how to build our roads and how to update our roads so that people don't get hurt. And that's all. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other announcement? No? So I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
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 Any opposed? We are adjourned at 7:53. Thank you.